So the service triangle. You'll notice in the service triangle, unlike a manufactured good, the customer is at the center of everything. There's a service strategy and how you're going to provide service to the customer. There's teams supporting that customer that's tied in that. And of course, the employees themselves. Think about the waiter, the waitresses, whoever it is that delivers the goods to the customer. In a manufacturing environment, this stuff does go on, but it's like separated. And the customer isn't always the center of the operation. For a long time, it's operations. The people who are making product are at the center of kind of like this triangle, and they deliver goods to the customer. So it works a little bit different in service. Everything is about the customer in the service triangle. It all happens at the same time. When you think about services that are being delivered, think about the different designs. So you think about the contact you still get through the United States Postal Service. I still get flyers in the mail. It's like, why do they send this to me? It's junk mail. I'll just throw it away. But that's pretty low cost. It's low cost. It's yeah. So it's low cost, but it's low opportunity too for whoever's sending me that mail. I'm not really looking at it unless it really grabs my attention. The customer contact is pretty low because I'm not interacting with the person who actually, or the company who actually put that flyer together in the mail and sent it to me. And it's very efficient though. You can reach thousands of people with just one mailer, for example, in the mail. At the other end is this face-to-face, like this total customization package. I want you to think about it for a minute like this. When you go to the doctor and you meet with your doctor because you're sick, and that doctor goes through a particular routine where they talk to you, they interact with you, and they determine what your problem is. A few weeks ago, I had to go to a med station because I had a cold, and it was very much this face-to-face total customization built around me and my problem. So wasn't very efficient. All right. Degree of contact with the person delivering the service to me, with the supplier, was very high. All right. And it was also very reactive. Like they were reacting to my symptoms and trying to take care of me. And the sales opportunity, it was huge. Like I had to have that product. I had to have that service because I was sick. So and who was selling the service? It wasn't a salesperson. It was a doctor. It was a nurse. And guess what? They followed up with me a week later by email to see how I was doing. So very high sales opportunity. But this is usually very expensive compared to this option down here. And you can see there's all different options on the spectrum. Let's talk about process flow charting for a moment. You got into this a little bit last week when we talked about the Timbuktu process, I guess a couple of weeks ago. So the basic elements of a process flow chart, that's what we're talking about here, includes task operations, flows of material, customers' decision making, and all that sort of stuff. It is very simple to being very complex. This is a very simple one. This is bread making. In fact, this is right out of your book. But I thought it showed pretty clearly and simply how things work with a process flow chart. You use process flow charts whether it be for service or for product that you manufacture. Works the same, a little bit different titles and labels. But for example, in this one, so the raw material, the dough, the oils, or whatever, the sugar, if there's bread, in the bread and that sort of thing, those are the raw materials. This is an inventory symbol. So all those materials, those raw materials, come in from other suppliers, and it's considered inventory in your plant, for example. You have a bread making machine, huge ovens, and you can make, every hour you can crank out 100 loaves of bread. But that's not the finished product, that's just the bread. It goes into work in process, or WIP inventory. So WIP inventory is all the inventory that's like, it's not raw and it's not finished. It's kind of like in between. It's in process, work in process, but it's inventory nonetheless. Now I'll tell you up front, the less inventory you can have in your plant, the better off you'll be. Think about every single piece of inventory, in this case bread, that's sitting around. Put like 50 cents on it and multiply it by all the thousands of WIP, work in process bread loaves that are there. So whenever you see inventory, see it as money sitting around doing nothing for you until you ship it. All right, but then it comes the packing process, and you can see the cycle time there, and then it goes to a finished goods inventory, which is still in your plant. It doesn't become somebody else's inventory until it leaves your plant. Usually, as soon as the truck pulls away from the dock, it's not your inventory anymore. And then it becomes, as soon as it pulls away from the dock, it becomes like the grocery stores. And then this would become like a make-to-order item in the grocery store. Some things to consider just as we wind up here. When you design jobs for people to do, whether it be for a service process or a manufactured good, some things to think about. Specialization of labor. It talks about making like these high-speed, low-cost production processes. So yes, high-speed, low-cost production is a good thing because it reduces the cost. It also reduces labor, which reduces the cost. The unfortunate thing is, as you reduce labor, those jobs aren't available to people. So it depends on your community and where you live. Now, in the Detroit area, like where we live over here, we like to put people to work. And I'm not against automation, that's for sure, because I appreciate that. But I'm also sensitive to the fact that people need jobs. So I'm kind of like in the middle between high automation is good and high labor content is good. So I'm kind of in between trying to walk the balance. Just remember though, when we're talking about specialization of labor, there's also places, industries in the U.S. where mechanics are CNC operators, welders, and maybe it's different in your part of the country. There's like these specialized labors that people who have these special skills are hard to get. That's a big problem in the U.S. right now. So if you're in an area where you require a lot of specialized labor of a particular type and you can't find that labor, then you can't make your product. So then you have to like automate that. So it's kind of like this balance between labor and automation that you always have to keep in mind. Keep in mind when you design jobs for people, make it as much as you can, make it meaningful and interesting to them. Otherwise, they'll check out and they'll just do their production work and they might make mistakes and never even know it. So think about job enrichment as a possible way to engage your workers throughout the day and throughout the week and hopefully keep them long term. Okay, so reminder, Chapter 7, 9, 11, initial responses for your discussion questions are due by Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. Follow-ups to those are done by 11:59, and quizzes are always due 11:59 p.m. along with on Fridays, and the assignments are due as well 11:59 p.m. on Sundays. All right, give me a call or email me, text me, whatever if you have any questions. Thanks.